Hi everyone, welcome to Celesta 20, the annual technical festival of Indian Institute of Technology Patna. This is the year Celesta has gone entirely virtual and the team promises to give you an experience which would be unparalleled and enjoyable as every year. Theme of this year's Celesta is Into the Cyber World. The technology we have today was unimaginable a few hundred years ago, and similarly, we can't predict what we would achieve in the next few years starting from the innovation of wheels to the recent innovations of reusable rockets and much more in the future. I think we always wonder how far we have come. Celesta relishes this feeling and rejoices this spirit. This is the second edition of a virtual talk series, and today we have with us Mr. Avelo Roy, Managing Director of Kolkata Ventures. He is a serial tech entrepreneur, investor, and TV host who started his first startup at the age of 19 around his patent pending technology and built it to a multi-million dollar valuation company by the age of 22. He has built 8 businesses in the US and India with multi-million dollar worth of products and services ranging from consumer electronics, AI systems, healthcare, food science, wearable technology, and password applications. His efforts through Kolkata Ventures in the past 3 years only have resulted in 400 plus revenue generating startups, responsible for around 5,000 new jobs in the 10 states of East India. We are really blessed to have such an eminent personality with us today as a part of our guest lecture series. Good morning, sir, and welcome to you. Before you uh, before you start, I have one question to ask. How are you feeling right now? Hello, sir. Are you able to connect? I think we are having a short technical glitch and our team is looking into that. Till then, stay tuned. At this time, I would like to tell you about the upcoming event Celesta 20 has to offer. One-on-one debate organized with the help of our House of Oratory Talent. Are We Alone in the Universe? Organized with the help of our astronomy team. Questa, and which is actually running right now. A series of quizzes. Solid Design, a designing event for civil engineers. Brand management and case study for the person with for business-related mind. Bytress, a competitive programmers event. Innover, ChemiQuiz, Virtuous Chroma to showcase your design and animation skills, and our own very own treasure hunt in chat. To take part in these exciting events, do register at our website, celesta.tech, and discover more about this. Apart from all these events, we also have our very own campus ambassador program, in which you can promote Celesta in your own college and just gather goodies worth rupees 10,000. To register for it, again visit our website, celesta.tech. Now, as always, we are always thankful to our sponsors for this event, without whose support, without their support, this show would not be possible.
See if you can see me. Okay.
Hi, sir. Welcome. I,
Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Are you able to hear me? There was some technical issues on my side.
can clearly hear you. So, how are you feeling right now?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How's your day?
Okay. So should we get started?
Yes. I pass on the control to you.
Sure. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen. Hello?
No, sir, it's not visible right now. Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So there's a delay, it seems like. Fine. Little bit about, like you heard my background. I've been a student entrepreneur while studying at the Illinois of Technology, which is also IIT, but in Chicago. And started at that age and won many business plan competitions and then got honored by California State Senate launching my company because it was solving a very important problem at the time, which is cyberbullying and saving little girls from pedophiles and things like that with technology. So we got a lot of press coverage, a lot of media attention, and that was our first business, Emotion. And then thereafter, we built many different businesses in US, Canada, Hong Kong. And in India, when I came back in 2016, we built Kolkata Ventures, which has become one of the largest startup incubators in East India with 400 plus revenue generating startups. During the pandemic, we actually grew to 5 countries. Our startups raised 11.5 crores during this year alone, during the pandemic. And already 2 exits. That means company has started huge valuation, and then they got bought out by a larger company. So far, there's been some amazing people behind us. I want to acknowledge them. People from US, from India, my friends who are entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs, as well as industry experts helping our entrepreneurs with everything that they need to go forward, so they don't have to make the same mistakes that other entrepreneurs do. Some of our successful startups, these are already funded. Others don't need funding, or maybe looking for funding in the future. Here, I also like teaching. So just like today, I'm with you all. I also teach at other IITs, IIMs, and 2 US universities. Done 4 TED Talks, as well as been featured all over US and Indian media. So I'll start with this one little plaque. So when President Obama became president of the United States in 2008, that's when he also started Startup America. And one of the things he did was push entrepreneurship with the help of entrepreneurs. And so I was one of those people who were going to colleges and high schools and telling them to become job creators, because 2008, 2009, the recession economy was bad, just like now, how the situation is. And in one of those high schools, they gave me this plaque that says, "Can't spell entrepreneur? Be one and hire someone who can." And that has been a very, very beautiful definition that I could never leave. And it's the sticker is still with me, this plaque. I really think this is the best definition of entrepreneurship, where you don't need to know everything. You know what you know, and what you don't know, you get the right people on board and build the business together. But before that, you need to first know who you are. And that's the beginning of, actually, believe me or not, that's the beginning of your business model creation. Today's topic is about the art of business modeling, and it starts with you, because without you, there is no business. So first of all, you have to understand who you are. Are you more on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? Are you more critical or more analytical, or more artistic, right? Are you better with mathematics, or are you better with design or music or things like that? Now, all of you are mostly engineers. Of course, all of you are engineers. So you probably are definitely got the left side of the brain covered. But those of you have the right side also covered have an added advantage, because the future is about both sides of the brain. It's more about the human side, because the left side can be automated, right? Most softwares, most automations, robots, IoT, AI, they can all automate the left side, where it's more technical and mechanical. Whereas the right side, the creative, the inspirational, innovative, entertainment, all of that is the human aspect, which machines can rarely replicate. And that's where the competitive advantage comes in. And most CEOs I've seen have a good combination of both. And that's what really makes a big difference. So why is that important? Because before you create the business model, you have to figure out what kind of business you want to get into. And that is defined by what you have, your skills and your passions. So everybody, I've been given 2 or 3 skills. You either learn and you hone it, or it's God-given talent. Like Sachin Tendulkar had the skill as well as he practiced, whereas Vinod Kambli was, he was skilled, but he never practiced, so he didn't go too far, but he was gifted with the skills. So we all have skills in certain areas, but we have to practice those skills to really hone them. So we have to figure out what those skills are that we are especially gifted with, that we are better than others at, right? And passion, things that we are passionate about, things that people we want to be around. So for example, sports, movies, food, right? So what happens is your passion defines the market you should go after, and your skills So once you figure out the market problem, you look at the problem, you look at the market, it's like, what is missing here? What are people struggling with? What are people willing to pay for? Then you figure out what skills you have to build a product or service that can solve that problem of the market. And when you combine all of this together, you have the business model, which is defined according to lean startup methodology. That a business model describes all parts of the company necessary to make money. All parts of the company necessary to make money. So I'll stop sharing my screen for a second and explain. Let's see. And explain to you what that means. So a business model. So think about it. What are the things that are going into your business? Your time, your effort, your energy, your money, sometimes to a certain degree, right? All of this goes in. That is your cost. Then comes the value creation. You solve a problem. And because you solve a problem, somebody is willing to pay you for the solution you've built. So that's your value creation. And then at the other side of the spectrum is revenue generation. So there's cost that goes in, value creation happens, revenue comes out. When your revenue is higher than your cost, you're profitable. When your revenue is lower than your cost, you're making losses. And that is okay. I'm sure you know most startups, Flipkart and Oyo and all of these guys, they make a lot of losses, thousands of crores in losses. And it's not a bad thing. And the reason why it's not a bad thing is because they're growing. As they're constantly growing, they're beating at the acceleration point of their own growth. So if you're accelerating constantly, you're going to take more fuel, right? And that's why you're going to be making losses. But the valuation is dependent on, if you were to stop marketing today, if you were to stop growing today, would you be profitable? And if the answer is yes, or if the answer is yes after 3 years, right, based on that, the valuation is built. I'm not going to talk much about valuation, but the point is profit and loss at the early stage doesn't matter. But what matters is there stickiness? Are people willing to pay for your product and services? Because then eventually, like Facebook has figured out, Google has figured out, so many companies have figured out that eventually, once you have the right number of people, you can monetize that. And if their demand is strong enough that you have a product that is sellable, then people eventually will figure out a way to make people to pay you for your problem solving ability. All right. So I'm going to now graphically explain this to you. Let me share my screen again. Again, I'm going to ask one of you if you can share, if you can see my screen, please do mention. Is my screen visible? Can you say yes in the chat so I know? Okay, thank you. All right. So the first thing about a business model canvas is the customer segment. That is basically who is your target audience, who is going to pay for your product and services. I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you think is the customer of Facebook? Who is the customer for Facebook? Get excited. Okay. Advertising agencies, that's right. Advertisers, very good. That's why you guys are at IIT. Fantastic. So why? Because customer means who's paying for it. A lot of times people make the mistake thinking that whoever is my user is my customer. Not true. People who pay for it is the customer. For example, if you're making dog food, if you're making cat food, cat is not your customer, dog is not your customer. A cat doesn't care about the brand of food that you're getting for the cat. But it is the owner, the dog owner or the cat owner, who smells and like, this smells good. This is premium cat food, right? And that's why they pay a premium amount for their food. Actually, I used to have a professor who used to spend like literally $500 every doctor's visit for the cat. He was paying $30 a day for a cat sitter, all of that. He was spending literally thousands of dollars a month for his cat. So, but who's the customer here? It's The professor is the person who owns the cat. So similarly, even children's products, sometimes like Byju's. Is Byju's product, is it really for the students? No, it's for the parents. Parents are paying for it. So their target is parents. Just like, the stupid ads of White Hat Junior, how they were talking about like, oh, your child's going to be this and that. So because every Indian parent wants that, my child should become the next Sundar Pichai and be the CEO of Google and this and that. And so that's what these people have been promoting. And hey, $300 million is not a small amount of money. So that's how they got valuation. Of course, don't cheat. Don't cheat. That's what happens when you cheat. Now everybody's understood what's going on. But the point is, they understood who the customer is. It's not the kids, it's the parents. So their marketing messaging was based on how to impress the parents to pay the money to get their products. That's right. You guys all know about what's happening with that. Okay. So first thing about the business model canvas is the customer segment. The next thing is value proposition. Value proposition means what value are your customers getting from you, right? So for example, in marketing, there's a statement that says people don't care about the nail on the wall. They care about hanging a picture. So don't talk about your drill being so strong, or your drill being automated, or whatever, power drill, wireless, with wire. Nobody gives a damn. What people care about is, I want to hang a picture on the wall, make me a hole in the wall, give me a nice strong nail, and I'm going to hang the picture. So value proposition is not how many megapixels your phone has, not how fast your processor is, all of that. If you see an Apple ad, iPhone ad, what you see is they talk about design. They talk about, there's a cult following. Why? Because it's not about the what, it's about the why, it's about the value. Now today it's not as much as it used to be during Steve Jobs' time, but with Steve Jobs, what he built with Apple was, it's a status symbol. It's a statement that I care about design, I care about great technology. And that's what Steve Jobs really, he was there to question the status quo. And that's the value of Apple. And that's why Apple is the first company that went into $1 trillion mark, right? And then, of course, Amazon and other companies followed suit. But the point is, value proposition is not how, powerful is your drill, or how great is your camera, or how fast is your software. It is what's the benefit you're giving the customer. So if you're going to save me time, if you're going to make me look good, if you're going to give me productivity, if you're going to help me fire employees, if you're going to help me make more money, all of that is a value that I am looking for from you. So that's the value proposition. That's the second part of your business model. Then comes your channel, your distribution channel. How are you delivering that value to your customer, right? How is your customer getting access to the value that you're providing? So are you buying it online, offline? Are you downloading it from a certain blog? Are you delivering it at the doorstep? Are you selling it at a retail store? No, whatever you're doing, what is your channel? Again, I'll go back to Apple. In Apple's case, you can buy online. There's also Apple stores. And then in countries like India, I think they just built their first Apple store, but mostly it's Apple authorized retail stores, right? So multiple channels that they sell through. So similarly, for every business, there's a channel. If you're a SaaS, software as a service, then you're selling through enterprise level salespeople who are calling and selling and negotiating and getting the best deal possible, right? Customer relationship. So basically, after people have bought your product, how do they ask you for help? How do they ask you for refund or replacement, et cetera, et cetera? Is it going to be a chatbot? Is it going to be, phone call? Is it going to be, how are customers going to relate? Like, okay, if you have an issue with Gmail, what do? You don't have a way of calling Google, of course, but you can write to them. You can, they have their process. It's an automated process mostly, but yeah, they have a process in place. So everybody has a way of dealing with customers, especially when you're a massive company like motor, let's say Reliance or whatever, right? It's difficult. You have to have thousands of people literally on call centers. So today what people do is the chatbots and various options of intelligent voice recognition tools and whatnot, people are able to give you. So if you call a bank, you will find it very hard to talk to a human being, because most they'll try to answer your question through the automated process. So that's customer relationship. Now, sometimes it gets very annoying when if you make it too difficult for people to get their answers. And so that for certain businesses is very, very important, that customers should be able to get what they want without much delay, without much problem. Like Amazon allows you to return if you don't like something easily, versus another Tom, Dick, and Harry e-commerce store might make you email, take a picture, tell you why, charge you a handling fee, this and that and this and that. And you're like, screw that, I'm just going to go to Amazon or Flipkart, right? So why? Because they make it easy for you. Customer relationship really, really is a big part of your business model. Then comes your revenue streams. More the merrier. Not just more, but also if it is repetitive, then it's even better. That means subscription models, right? For example, annual subscription or monthly subscription. So if you can figure out a way to get your customer to keep coming back, like for example, you sell a software, it's a one-time purchase, but then you're going to provide updates, right? And then you're going to offer an annual maintenance fee so that every year you get some recurring revenue about updating the software or customizing it to a certain degree for the company, et cetera, right? So there are various ways of figuring out revenue streams so that you can have a longer lifetime value of a customer, right? Remember this name, lifetime value of a customer. So a customer comes once to you. You don't want the customer to buy just once. You want the customer to buy one thing, the second thing, a third thing. And if you don't have too many things, you refer them to somebody and you get a referral fee for them to buy. Just like Amazon, if you look at a shoe on Amazon, everywhere you go, you'll get the ad of that shoe. Like, oh my God, everywhere it's following it around till you click on that ad, go to Amazon and actually buy the shoe. They will keep hammering you with advertisements, right? So what are they trying to do? They're trying to be like, okay, and then once you buy the shoe, they'll be like, oh, you like this shoe? Why don't you try the socks also, right? So they're constantly upselling and cross-selling. So that's like ways of, interestingly increasing your revenue streams. Then comes your key resources. People are the biggest resource. If you have great engineers in your startup, if you have great advisors in your startup, if you have a lot of cash in your startup, if you have intellectual property in your startup, that means a patent or a trademark or trade secret, right? All of that is part of your key resources. And then comes your key activities. So, what do you do? So, for example, if you're a LinkedIn, you maintain a platform where people come and network, but your job is to maintain that platform and keep the technology running. If you are Paytm, you're a bank, you are a wallet, you are a shopping mall, you are pretty much everything. I mean, they're everything, events and hotels and whatnot. Of course, they are not hotels, they're a transaction platform, but they're again maintaining a platform and trying to have multiple verticals, multiple revenue streams. But the key activity is maintaining the fintech platform that they have built. Key partners. These are people who grow when you grow, and when they grow, you grow. So think about it as strategic alliance, right? You must have seen those people on rickshaws and stuff, right? They go up the bridge, and as they're going up the bridge, they hold on to the truck, right? Cycles or rickshaws. And as the truck is going up, they go at the speed of the truck. So your startup is like that. It's a little cycle. And there's a big company like a Reliance or whoever, right? And they hold on to that truck and they grow fast. So a lot of times there's strategic investments. Like one of my companies, we were negotiating a deal with Samsung, and Samsung said, hey, you know what? We have so many handsets. It will cost you a lot of money to get downloads of your app. How about we help you? And we can, the next time they update the software, we're going to pre-install your app on their phone. And in return, we want blah, blah, and blah. So that's strategic partnership. So I'm saying, hey, you know what, to get 1 million downloads, I might have to spend, let's say, $500,000. Now, if I go with Samsung, they're not only giving me the brand name of Samsung, I can say Samsung is my strategic partner, but also they're giving me $500,000 in cash, plus they're giving me access to downloads. So it's a strategic partnership. So what does Samsung get out of this? Samsung is like, hey, I want to make my customers happy. I want Google to not have all the access. the Play Store and the App Store to not have all the power. I want Samsung Galaxy App Store to also have some power. So I want your app on my platform, and in return, I'll give you access to users. I'll give you access to data. I'll give you access to blah blah and blah. So you're like, great, I'm getting this much stuff, and I'm getting customers, and I'm happy to help you, Samsung, in my small way. So both of you win. So strategic partners are very, very important. Yes, data is the biggest power. You're absolutely right. Let me just quickly see your messages. Oh, oops. Okay, I cannot scroll in this chat section, but that's okay. I hope you guys are enjoying, and if you have questions, keep asking. One of the students will read those questions out to me. All right. And the last part of the business model canvas is the cost structure, right? So this is basically where what you spend. So from your Uber expense to your internet bill to your server expense to the first few employees or your interns or just electricity bill, website domain, URL, all of these are part of your cost, right? And eventually when you hire employees, that's going to be your payroll is going to be a big cost, taxes, big cost, all of that, right? So I hope the business model canvas is clear. So you have your customer segment, you have your value proposition, your value gets to the customer through a distribution channel. Customer should be able to have a relationship with you. There should be a channel for customer relationship. There is your key resources. There is your key activities that you do, and partnerships that allow you to grow. Explosive growth happens when you partner with the big guy, right? And people open doors, or even with the government if you can partner up. Like one of the companies, I think Upgrad, they partner with Startup India, and within a couple of years they become 100 crore plus by selling their courses through Startup India. So it was a huge strategic advantage they had. Cost structure, of course, and key resources. So I hope this is clear. So all of this changes, right? And as engineers, you can appreciate that you build something, you measure, you test it, see how people react with your Google Analytics, Facebook Insights, App Console Insights, right? All of these you test and you see the data and you see how people are reacting, what people are reacting to, what people are not reacting to. You learn from that and you build again and you test again and you learn again and you build again. So that's how you fail fast, you succeed faster. You are going to fail. It is just part of building a product. That's how it works, right? But the point is, as long as you are learning from it and iterating and making it better and better and better, you're going to be successful. Just like any phone, right? Every phone that you have is better than the previous phone. How? Because they're learning from your analytics that, this is how it works, versus, oh, this is the feature we thought they would use, but they're not using it. Okay, so maybe we should get rid of it. Now, don't be like Apple, cutting off everything. Now, new Apple phones don't even have the chargers or earphones or whatever. It's completely crazy. But don't be that crazy. But the point is, in terms of features, to look at the analytics and figure out what is redundant and what is much needed, and what is needed, double down on it, and what is redundant, get rid of it. So keep it minimalistic, keep it simple, and that way you keep your business model very, very efficient, right? Okay. Sir, should we do business or startups according to the market or according to our interest? Both. Our interest need to align with the market. Only then we can figure out and feel the pain of the market. When we feel the pain of the market, then we can actually solve with our skills, right? So all of that is important. I don't have any innovative ideas right now, but I have interest in building my startup. What should be my strategy? Get started. Start Googling, start YouTubing, learn about different segments, figure out your passion, what market passion you feel you really want to be around. Is it movies? Is it sports? Is it healthcare? Is it senior citizens? Is it fashion? Whatever it is, right? Then figure out what is the problem that these people are facing in that market. Figure out what kind of issues that they're willing to pay for. And once you figure that out, see if you can build it with your friends from IIT Patna, and together build something, test it out, build something, test it out, build something, test it out, till you have a final product that you can go and say, hey, you have a problem, I have a solution, let's partner up together, help me make this in such a way that it makes your life easy, and we can also earn money from it. And together, you can build a business. What is the checklist you check in management before investing in any startup? Of course, the people, right? The history of the people. Has they done anything, right? Now, if you're students, then of course I'll look at internships, or if you've built something, broken something, failed in a startup, or made something successful. Some history should be there. Otherwise, execution doesn't happen. If it's purely like first time, no idea, no clue, not everybody is Mark Zuckerberg. It doesn't work like that. So I always look for that expertise. Of course, the founder doesn't have to have all the expertise. You can bring in other people. Like when I was a 19-year-old kid starting my startup, my co-founder and I were 19 and 20, but everybody else in the team were 40 plus with great experience, who had built, lots of products, who have manufactured. We had no clue. These guys had done it. So we pulled them in. And that's the power of an entrepreneur. If you can inspire other people to get on board, believe in your vision, believe in your dream, come on board and build something together. Of course, they don't have to quit their job immediately. Initially, they can just help part-time. And eventually, as you're making money, they can quit and come on board. That's what investors want to see. Do you have that ability to bring people, inspire people to believe in the vision that you see, right? That's a huge part of building a business. If you cannot get your team together, investors, why should they believe in you, right? So that's a big part of building a startup. I have an idea, but don't have much skills required to accomplish those projects. What should I do now? Build some core skills that you are good at. And for the other skills, get co-founders. Build a team together, solve problem together. I have some ideas, but great amount of capital investment. Don't be stupid. In today's world, if you have internet, if you have a laptop and a phone, you don't need a lot of capital. You can get started. Build a minimum viable product. Unless you're building a car company, you should not have any issues having a prototype built. Once when you come to an investor, you have to show that I can do this without your money. I have come this far. I have to go this far. That I will need your help for. And it's either you or somebody else. But on my own, this is what I've done. So unless you show your skin in the game, why should the investor believe in you, right? You just come to the investor with like, I have an idea and I want your money. Go away, right? Everybody has ideas on the street. If I ask 10 people on the street, everybody has ideas that they ever thought, I'm going to start a startup, but they cannot build it. They cannot execute. That's why they are on the street, right? So if you're an entrepreneur, you would go ahead, learn what it takes to learn, build what it takes to build, and go ahead and do it. And you have mentors like myself, elder brothers who are here to help you, right? I help hundreds and hundreds of student entrepreneurs. That's what my passion is. I'm not married, so I have a lot of time. So I do that, right? Kolkata Ventures is dedicated for that. But you have to show your part. You have to show your effort, that you're willing to, get B's and C's in your exams, not be the best student, because entrepreneurship is more important to you, and you're willing to take the risk, not quit your college. At the same time, give the priority to what can change your life forever and make you a legend, right? But sir, if I start today to learn trending premium skills and technology, will I be able to be an expert at that at very less time? You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be an expert. Why do you have to be an expert? Get something started, build a prototype. Once there's validation, people will automatically join you. You'll bring in people who are experts, and those experts will make it all happen. You think Jeff Bezos is expert in e-commerce? Do you think he's expert in technology? Do you think no? These guys don't, code. They know what they want, and they get people to do what they want. Right? Initially, it's begging and borrowing. Eventually, you pay people, get the best people on board to do what you want them to do. You don't have to be an expert. That was my first slide. Sir, we are ready with our product, failing to make how to reach our... Okay, you know what? Let me finish my presentation, then I'll get to questions. And my friend here, he is looking at all your questions, and he promised me that he will help me with the questions. So let me go share my screen again. So the optimization of your business model is realizing as you go through various models, you're building, testing, learning. You realize from A to B, you have multiple roads to go. But what is the best possible, the most efficient, the least difficult path from A to B? That's optimization. And then you have a goal. You've set a goal. Okay, I want to make $1 million in a year. You break down the goal. You break it down further. Does it look more achievable? Yes. Is there now a plan to it? Of course. Now you can have a monthly goal. You can have a weekly goal. You can have a daily goal. and you can see if you're achieving. Now, of course, some months will be low, some months will be high. So you can have quarterly, you can make sure that whatever you lose in a month, you make up in another month. But the point is, you need to break down that massive goal into small, bite-sized opportunities. And that way, you can have the right strategy in place to meet that goal. And it doesn't look as big when you can make it bite-sized. So eventually, when you go through this process, you'll realize that it's not the unique selling proposition, but the unique bragging proposition. So you get your customers to brag about your product, and that way your customer acquisition cost goes down, your marketing cost goes down. You don't have to market it anymore. Your customers market it for you. I have had iPhone since 2009, and you have no idea how many friends I have inspired to buy the iPhone, because I'm an influencer, and it's a bragging thing. It's telling people, hey, it's such a great phone, so easy to use, you should get it too. Of course, now I don't tell anyone, because iPhone has degraded like anything. But back in the days, I have single-handedly gotten Apple probably 30 to 40 sales. Right. So that's what happened. And I'm not the only one. There are many Apple users who brag, who get others to buy Apple. And that's what happens when you get your customers to become your marketers. OPN, other people's network. Always use this. You don't have to worry about having your own set of customers, just like Facebook did. Initially, they used the Harvard network. So all the Facebook users, I was first year in college at the time, all the Facebook users were harvard.edu email addresses. And then they opened it up to all US colleges. So I was able to get into Facebook. And that was .edu email addresses. And then they opened it up to Gmail and all other email addresses. And the whole world joined Facebook. But the point is, they used a very premium network of Harvard students, and then eventually the US students. And from students, they opened up to everyone. Right? Airbnb did the same thing for Craigslist. They were scraping data from Craigslist, which is, so if you know Celesta or OLX, they're a copy of Craigslist. Right? So Craigslist is the original listing site in the US. So Airbnb basically took a lot of the people who were visiting different cities and wanted to just live in people's houses rather than pay for a hotel. Airbnb scraped all that data, brought that on board, and by the time Craigslist realized and blacklisted them, Airbnb was already a multi-million-dollar business. So, and then there's further optimization in a business model where you realize the workflow. Now you have a system in place, and then you use these tools to easily, monitor and systematize things so that there's less problems, more efficiency, less employees, less cost, and things move faster, right? Amazon and YouTube. So I'll tell you a little story here of a really cool business model. So around 5 years ago, one of my mentors in US, he said, Avelo, I just spent $1.8 million buying this brand called Iowa. Most of your parents would know the brand. It was very popular in India back in the days. Walkman and TVs were all Iowa. So he said, I bought this brand called Iowa from Sony. I got 400 speakers manufactured from China, and now I'm totally out of cash. I have no liquidity. I don't know how to sell them. I know how to make products, but I don't know how to sell them. Will you help me? I said, no problem, Joe. Give me a little time. Let me do a little research. So we built the e-commerce aspect of it. We did some marketing for it. And in 8 weeks, we were selling $25,000 worth of speakers, right? $25,000 worth of speakers a week, not a month, a week, right? And then, of course, it went on e-commerce platforms and everything. And then we were like, why US? Why not Canada? Why not South America? Why not Europe? Why not Asia, right? And so any country that has YouTube, Amazon, and Facebook, this is what we would do. We would give a speaker or a few speakers to influencers who make review videos on YouTube. And they would say, hey, there's a Bose speaker, there's a JBL speaker, and there is a Iowa speaker. So much better, so much this, so much that. And they would have an affiliate link. So their followers would click on that link, go to Amazon, buy the speaker. These guys would get paid for every sale that happens. And we would take that video from YouTube, put it on the Facebook ads, run ads, and directly send people to Amazon platform. And then we would sell. And that started happening in every country that had Amazon, YouTube, and Facebook, right? So Beautiful business model. Now it's a multi-million dollar business. Aiwa, AIWA, Aiwa Exos 9, and there's so many models of Aiwa now, but AIWA. So that's what we did, and we're still doing that. And we don't have to leave our houses. I'm in India, Joe's in US, and we are selling it all over the world. And new products are coming up from China, Hong Kong. Of course, I shouldn't say China much, but yeah, that's where it gets manufactured. And we are selling it all over the world through that automated process, right? Once you set the process, now what happens? Guess what? Those ads are running. There are people running those ads. Those influencers are getting their things, and the shipping is happening from China directly to Amazon warehouse, and Amazon is, so it's kind of like drop shipping model along with our own marketing. It's our own product. So drop shipping, people sell other people's products. Here we are selling our own product, so profitability is much higher. But the point is, sitting at home, we are selling it all over the world just with the help of Amazon, Facebook, and YouTube, right? So automation is very, very key in your business model. That's just one business model. You can do so much more, with the right kind of automation. So these are the various tools with which you can do automation for your sales, for your project management, for your email marketing, for your sales, etc., operations, etc. So I'll end with this mantra for you that I've learned after going through 8 businesses of my own and helping thousands of startups in US, Canada, India, and Hong Kong. This is the mantra. Think big, think really big, right? Start small though. Start with something that's low hanging, that doesn't cost a lot of money. You can easily go to revenue, 0 to revenue in 30 days or 45 days, right? Start small, grow slow. You will make mistakes. Don't repeat those mistakes. Once you're figured out and you're making you're not making as much mistakes, you've found a repeatable and scalable business model, then grow really, really fast, right? That's where investors come in. So you show, look, I have figured it out. I have the model as already validated. Now with your money, I can capture market share. So people have started copying me. I want to capture market share. That's where investors come in and grow massively, right? So this is the number of my assistant. You can always WhatsApp Sarvanu, and he will help you schedule a time with me if you need a one-on-one mentorship with me, or if you want to be incubated by Kolkata Ventures, you start up to be incubated by Kolkata Ventures, or you're looking for funds, you can just directly go to kolkataventures.com and fill out our funding form, right? Also, there's a lot of gifts as videos that I've made for you. There are 230 or so videos that are there that I've made for you on startups and also on spirituality, Bhagavad Gita. I'm a big Bhagavad Gita nerd. I really like the management principles and leadership qualities that Bhagavad Gita talks about. So I've made a lot of videos on Bhagavad Gita, and I've made videos on startups. Go watch them on youtube.com/Avelo Roy. If you have questions, ask in the comment section and I'll respond to you. I respond to every single comment on YouTube. If you have personal questions, you're going through breakup, you're going through like, oh God, how do I start this? Just message me on Instagram. Again, Avelo Roy. I'm the only person in this world with that name. So easily you can find me. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you need internship or things like that. If I can help you in any way, I'm there for you, right? So I'm done with my presentation. And if one of the volunteers can just help me with the questions, that'd be fantastic.
Hello, that was really a thought-provoking talk, sir. And we have gathered a lot of questions from our social media platforms, and I will be presenting them to you.
Sure.
Of course, as a thumb rule, you can deny to answer a question, and we would move on to the next one. So Balbir Prasad Yadav has to ask that you must have hundreds of startups pitching to you. So during a pitch, what do you see within the first minute?
It's literally the energy, the clarity, and the problem. Are they clear on the problem statement? And a lot of things the human brain tells you in 30 seconds about the person. If they are confident about what they're selling, if they have clarity on what they're selling, if they are skilled on what they're saying. So in that first minute, all of that kind of becomes either a question mark or a yes or a no. And then there onwards, things kind of proceed.
Okay. Our next question is from Anmol, and he asked that what are your comments in the recent shift of India from being known as a service-based country to a product-based country?
One more time.
What are your comments in the recent shift of India from being from being shifted to a service-based
Yeah.
country to a product-based country?
I think there's a long way to go. We don't have the infrastructure, but the government is trying really hard. Look at Samsung. They just came, opened a big manufacturing center in Greater Noida, and now we have cheap Samsung phones in India. Apple doing the same thing, but long way to go. It won't happen very quickly, but it's in the right track. But till then, I think, especially given the pandemic, service, any day service, it's very easy to do service. You can be sitting in your dorms and building a service business, B2B on LinkedIn, B2C on Instagram and Facebook. How easy could it be? So any day service business. But yeah, eventually when you have, so don't make your first business a product business. That's a mistake I did. Going to China, getting cheated by coders. Oh my God, it was so difficult, because you, as a teenager, what do you know? Nothing. So first business is learn how to do business, learn how to manage money, learn how this whole process works. And then when you are really like, what, I can do this. So my first business took 3 years to go from zero to launch. My second business was 21 days, zero to revenue, not just launch, zero to revenue, 21 days. So that's the beauty of it. Once you know how the structure of a business works, you can really quickly replicate that. But go into product business later on. Service business is a great way to kind of learn the things, how money works, how business works.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. There's a next question that getting like-minded people to get the risk is a big issue for any student-led startup, because as students we can't provide any monetary security. So how do we get past this?
It's a secret that unfortunately the middle class doesn't know. That money has many names. Money can be called dowry. Money can be called tax. Money can be called investment. Money can be called smile, right? So money is nothing but a paper, right? It's a currency. So same currency. Let's say if I give you 1,50,000, you'll give me this phone. If I'm nice to you, by the way, this was a gift to me by somebody who was going through a breakup, was suicidal. I saved his life. And he said, sir, because of you, I am where I am. Here is an iPhone, whatever for you, right? So I didn't pay for it. So is that money? Yes. Is that a currency? Yes. So you, as a student, this is how I did it. I got millionaires and billionaires to help me because I was nice to them. I said, imagine yourself at my age. Please help me. How would you do it, if you were me? And they gave me hours of the time, which is worth a lot of money. I got people to join me from Wrigley, from L'Oreal, from all these big companies. Again, it was showing them, hey, you're stuck in your job. You're making a lot of money. You have a great car. I cannot afford anything you have. I have a power point, a lot of passion. But together we can build something that be far better than what you have today. So that inspiration, that leadership skill have to be there. If you don't have that, get a co-founder who does. See, you don't have to be Steve Jobs. You can be Steve Wozniak, right? But if you're Steve Wozniak, get a Steve Jobs. If you're Steve Jobs, get a Steve Wozniak. But you need to have those skills to bring in the right people. And it's not about money. You should not pay anybody to join your startup. It should be, let's build things together and grow together and make our idea successful.
Thank you. Our next question is from Aryan. That is, how do you build a company selling products which are socially stigmatized, such as products related to sexual wellness?
So India is at that point where there is enough educated people who are using Amazon, watching Netflix, and that area, that is not a small market. The reason why, imagine people are spending 6,000 rupees a year on Netflix, right? And that's not a small thing. So that means there's a big market that is catering to that audience, and that market is buying sexual wellness products on Amazon, on a Big Basket, and other things. So if you are building a product like that, target that audience. Don't target a tier 2 city. Don't target people who would throw a riot over it and shut you down. Target the people who are open-minded, educated, and are your segment. So be very narrow, be very niche. For example, you don't see ad for Ferrari on your TV, do you? You don't, because people who can afford a Ferrari are not watching a TV. So similarly, you don't want to target everyone for your product. You want to target the specific segment who will understand who is your market.
Okay. And talking about customer relations, to be fairly honest, we also in our fest or in our committees face problems regarding customer management. So how do we divide our support between chatbots and between actual student representatives? How do we decide which is the borderline?
Absolutely. I mean, there are some things that has to be built into the design of a product or service where it's intuitive enough that you don't need to ask any questions. Again, going back to Apple, they are the first company that stopped giving user manuals with their phones, because they made such a simple phone that you don't need user manuals. Before Apple was Nokia, which had literally 30 buttons on it. And you're like, what? It takes a week. I remember my smartphone, I had to figure out a week to figure out how to use that damn phone. iPhone, immediately out of Apple Store, I was able to use it. Right. So the point is, part of it is designing your product in such a way that people don't need to answer a lot of questions. Secondly, building the customer care into the system, where a lot of it can be answered with FAQs and whatnot, and a lot of it could be volunteers who are volunteering their time purely dedicated to helping people. See, you as an entrepreneur really need to understand that customer is your God in one sense, right? So for that is the focus. So if that is the focus, you'll figure out a way how to serve them in the most efficient possible way.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now Sushant has a question that technical skills can be certified, but creativity can only be certified by a customer. So how can we explicitly show that a person has a combination of both?
Sure. It's not just a customer. You can actually show your creativity. I'll give you an example. So my co-founder he's an IIT Kharagpur graduate. So he's an engineer, and I was teaching him marketing. So he's my Steve Wozniak. So I was teaching him marketing. I was like, okay, let's do an ad, Facebook ad. So I was teaching him like, okay, in 5 minutes you can create a Canva graphic and you can run an ad on Facebook, and you can show results. So he's very good at getting girls to do what he wants to do, and he has gone through many breakups, relationships, so he's really expert in that domain. So I said, let's use that to your advantage. So we made a picture of half a face of a guy with tear coming out, and it big text says, don't let her ruin you. Sorry, it's gender biased. Don't let her ruin you. And there was a WhatsApp number, and that's it. We targeting men only of a certain age group, that means your age group, and we let the ad out. So we spent literally 100 rupees a day. And I tell you, for the next 3 weeks, his phone did not stop buzzing. Men were like, all breakups and everything. Men cannot cry. So here they found somebody, and it became a business model. He was making money, and he was using my house as a place for his counseling. And it's like, okay, enough of this. Now let's go back to Kolkata Ventures and build the business. Point is, that's how you validate it. You do a test project. You try it out, and you see if there's reaction, because Facebook Insights will tell you if people are clicking on it or not, if it is costing you a lot or not, right? If you can get that price down, it's a game. It's the best game possible. And you guys, engineers, you will do much better than most people. And if you can figure out that game, you don't need customer to tell you. You'll figure it out from Facebook Insights if you're good at it or not. And then nobody's good at it. You get better and better by honing it, right? And earning in the process. You can be teaching people dancing, you can be teaching people anything. You're IITian, so you can teach, instead of white hat junior teaching them coding, you guys can do a much better job teaching them coding. Right? Might as well sell that on Facebook. And using your IIT Patna brand, you'll be able to do much better than white hat junior.
that is actually a really true fact. Now our next question is from Atil, and he wants to know that how to know that a product would work if we have to put our own investment. The investment is huge, and someone doesn't have that many clients in the start.
If you have a huge investment thing to do, that means you're doing it wrong. You don't understand entrepreneurship. It is an employee mentality coming in. You have to minimize whatever that huge investment you're thinking of. You have to minimize that. Like, one company came to me saying, we want to build electric vehicles, like, sports car, electric vehicle. I'm like, what have you built? They're like, oh, we took a old car, ripped it apart, and built a new car on top of that. I said, was it an electric vehicle? They're like, no, it was a diesel vehicle. I'm like, so what's the big deal? You just remove the chassis, make a new chassis. But show me in a small scale that you have the right people to build an electric vehicle. Even if it's a remote controlled car, a small prototype. If you can do that, then that prototype, you can take it to investors. And I connected them to hundreds of people, right? And nobody invested in them. And the reason why is because they've never built an electric vehicle, not even a prototype. How can they get funding for it? So basically, if you're thinking there's a huge investment to start your startup, that means you're thinking it wrong. You have to minimize it, show a proof of concept. With that proof of concept, get government grants, get loans, get investment, get whatever you need to do. Win competitions. So many business plan competitions are there in our country where you can win lakhs and lakhs of money, right? Do that, and that way you get the initial capital, showcase with that initial capital, then go forward.
Thank you.
There is a playlist on my YouTube channel called How to Start with Zero Money, right? I highly recommend you watch that, because this is a concept. You guys don't have a fault, it's just you don't come from business family, so you don't understand this, how value works, how currency works. So watch the playlist on how to start with zero money, and you'll understand the principles of building a startup without any investment, because that's what I did, and I continue to do it even now. I never put my money at first. I'm the second investor. Somebody else will put the money. That's a validation. That it's not my ego. It's actually there's a value to what I'm building, and then I put my money.
And I guess it has come a long way since then.
Of course.
Now, a senior of mine and some of my friends are working on some products, such as are working on a lot of products actually, and they would like to know the steps they should follow to get mentored.
Yeah, you can just I just give you the number of my assistant. Get in touch, or just go to kolkataventures.com, click on mentorship, and schedule a mentorship session. We'll be happy to help.
Okay, thank you, sir. Our next question is from Pratham. Would you go for a product that is there in the market by many sellers, or where you can get cheap and where you could get it for cheap?
I didn't get the question.
Would you go for a product that is there in the market by many sellers? You can
Oh,
go.
no, I won't. It's a no-brainer. I won't. I want something unique. I want my competitive advantage. I want something that I have monopoly over. Only then I can do something big with it. Otherwise, it's drop shipping. Everybody is selling broomsticks, from the same Alibaba store. You're buying from Alibaba, selling it on Amazon. So what's the big deal? That's not a
Mhm.
business.
And since we are now running short of time, I will take the final question from my side. What do you think of passive income solutions? That is, I built a tool or an extension today, monetize it out and spread it, and just spread out the word. But I inherently don't have the motivation to maintain it further. I'm just not interested in it. So is this the right way, or should I, if I'm starting something, I should focus on maintaining it up?
See, if you say passive income, then by default, by definition, you don't want to actively
Hmm.
maintain it. So you should build a system where you spend no more than 4 to 5 hours a week, and it just takes care of itself,
Hmm.
right? There are so many coaches and courses and all kinds of digital products people sell. They just set the system up, and it does it. Now, why do you want to have passive income? That means you want to do something actively, whether it's a
Yeah.
job or it's a hobby or a real business. That part, the one that you want to do actively, there you need to have full focus. That's your
Hmm.
baby, and that needs to be really priority number one over everything else, except for health,
Yeah.
right? But passive income, by definition, is where you don't want to put focus, but you want to have a steady stream of income coming in, and that's great. You should have that. Multiple sources of income is absolutely necessary. So in case of coronavirus happens, right, the one thing goes down, but there are four other things that can keep you up.
Okay, so I think this is the time we can end this session right here. I, on behalf of Team Celesta and the IIT Patna fraternity, would like to extend our gratitude towards you. We are sure that our viewers have gained today something very exceptional, and just thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and stay connected on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram and go to youtube.com/Avelo Roy. Watch the startup videos. If you have questions, I'm there for you. Thank you very much. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Sure.
To all our viewers, thank you very much for joining us today. The information about the rest of our events are available on our website, celesta.tech. Till then, I hope you like this session. Our next guest lecture is tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. The links are available on our Facebook page. We wish you all the best and hope you had a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.